Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly, how about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson, and Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and tonight, folks, I'll be having a wee look ahead at Motherwell versus Celtic, and can obviously Celtic can look to continue a wee bit of winning momentum that we're under just now, and obviously look to concede less goals. I think we're all probably thinking as well at the same time. But first, before I come to that, I hope everybody's well that's tuning in with us across the platform. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas. Hope you and your family had a great time. And you are all looking forward to the next festivity, which is the New Year. I know that people like myself are more interested in the football and everything else that's going on there. So I've not really thought about the New Year. I don't really celebrate too much at the New Year at all. I think New Year's one of those times where you could be, you could go out any weekend and have a New Year. So specifically, I tend to just kind of stay in. Don't really do too much. We'll come to some comments as we do. Theo Isaac, you're in, pal. Good job. Celtic girl. Hail to yourself. G-Doc. Evening all. And Jem, evening JP and the chat. Kev 166, hail everyone. Ryan, our good man from the channel, evening all. Another must tomorrow. Need to keep I think we need to keep an eye on your taxis, man. Need to keep an eye on a clean mat, clean toilet, clean work surface. What we're looking for, wee man. On a day job, just pop 'em in. Busy tonight. Evening, folks. Enjoy the rest of your festive time. I think Ryan's had too much of the festivities on me's part of there. Good evening, Mark. Hope you're well, pal. Hail, JP and the chat. Our good man, Francis Lester. Evening, JP. Think we can score at well. Not convinced we won't concede, so hopefully we can score more than we lose. Yeah, I mean, that's it, Kev. I think that's it, mate. Unless you've got something serious planned, then for me, it's just the novelty wore off a long time ago. Yeah, definitely. Nicholas Castey, good evening, mate. I hope you are well. Evening, JP. I hope you had a good Christmas, mate. I did, mate. Yeah, it was relatively quiet. Obviously, I've mentioned before, I've got 2 young kids, so therefore, it was more about them, to be honest. And if they had a good time, that means I had a good time. So, yeah. New Nashers, what a name that is, by the way, for a year. I could actually... You could turn that into a podcast and make it all about teeth. The festive period's been long for me, which is why I'm coming up with these mental ideas. But great name for a YouTube page. Season's greetings, same to yourself. We get any new comments in? No, I'll maybe just wait to... Oh, there we go, big grabs in. Hail, JP. Our back three that's playing now... We're backup players under the past manager. Sarache was playing our key T, so that's why the defence is weak. Yeah, well, I mean, first and foremost, when you're saying the previous manager, do you mean Brendan Rodgers? Is that what you meant there? Because obviously Austin Trustee's enjoyed a run in the team since Martin O'Neill came into the side as interim manager. So I'm assuming, Rab, you're meaning Brendan Rodgers there. Gary and Cheryl Simpson, good evening. I hope you are well. As I said, I hope everybody that's tuned in with us enjoyed your festive period so far. If you're still off work, lucky you. If you're back at work today, unlucky for some. But some of us, it's been. I don't know how everybody's feeling, but relatively for me, it's been really, really quick. You get prepared for this one day, Christmas Day, and everybody's so hyped, and it's hyped for months prior to it, and then all of a sudden, the day comes and it just flies by, and I think that's the thing, Celtic girl. I think that's what we're all hoping for. Not everybody celebrates New Year. Not everybody has had a great 2025. There's been millions of things happened this year for folk who have been less fortunate to, not be in a happy place or situation. And I think that's, New Year's all about. I used to live like the old Reverend I Am Jolly. As much as it was funny, there was also hidden messages behind a lot of his sketches that he'd done, all Ricky Fulton. And, it was all about in with the old and out with the new. Oh, sorry, I've had a long day, folks. Out with the old and in with the new, should I say. By the way, I done that without thinking there. It's been a long day. It's Monday, but a lot of people call it Monday for some reason. But I done that there right off the cuff without even thinking. My brain engaged in that there before my mouth started talking. So that's where I'm holiday. But New Year's is it's all about looking forward, and also a period of it's like looking back as well at the people that are less fortunate, or people who are no longer with us anymore, and stuff like that, So I think New Year for some folk can be quite down. It's for some folk, it's not a great time of the year. I don't feel that way. I don't tend to plan anything. I don't do anything to celebrate it. I just think that's that side of it. The novelty's worn off for me, and you could celebrate any weekend. Right, folks, on to the football. Obviously, Celtic, we won against Livingston 4-2. I've seen millions of things online through social media and group chats, etc. A lot of our fans are really concerned about the amount of goals that we're leaking just now, and obviously the way the team are shipping goals. But we also are now scoring goals and creating quite a lot of opportunities to do that. Well, there you go, Francis. It's just as well you've got this podcast, mate, because we'll keep you right, mate. Just as well we're here to kind of put you in the right track, pal. I don't know if I can't speak for everybody there, but I'll certainly do my best. Yeah, Gary, I mean, that's it, mate, and that's kind of where I was kind of touching on, and so it's not a great time for everybody, pal. That's what I was kind of meaning when I said that. But yeah. So obviously Celtic goes to Livingston. In my opinion, a very, very tough place normally for us to go. Now, there's this, I've heard people say, Livingston scored 2 goals against us, and I get all that. Teams can score against people. It doesn't matter if Livingston are bottom of the league or in the first division or second division. It's not like a team can't score. I think it was more of the manner that we lost the 2 goals. We were so open and wide open as well. And when, in my opinion, especially the second goal, I thought that Sinisalo should have done better, if I'm being honest. Again, maybe I've overanalyzed that. I thought personally Sinisalo should have done better for a goal. And yeah, I really think it could be ring rusty, could be down to the fact that he's not played. But I really thought he wasn't at it for that goal at all. Nord Celts, good evening, pal. Hope you are well. Cheers for tuning in. First goal comes from a real bad error from Kieran Tierney. Now, where I will defend Kieran is he's played a ball into an area. Obviously, there was nobody there. But where I'll defend Kieran Tierney is there's still work to do since the ball's played. And I feel that Tony Ralston needs to do more in getting either his body in the way or, trying to get a block on that at least to stop the guy getting his shot away. I know Montana sticks in and he sticks it in almost the roof of the net, but when you're looking at it back, you've got to get out of that. You've got to stop that. You've got to beat that and stop that at source, in my opinion. And he doesn't do it. He's sleeping. Yang's obviously too high in the pitch because he's not anticipated Kieran Tierney giving the ball away, in my opinion, the way he did. I think Yang's went high because he felt that Celtic were ready to press up the field. And he's on the right-hand side, so he's got to work that flank. Thought he actually impressed me getting back in. He was really unlucky. He actually gets a toe onto the ball and he knocks it just into Montana's path, which sets Montana for a shot. But Montana should never have been set for the shot, in my opinion, because when you look at it back, Tony Ralston gives him makers a room to make up his mind and what he's going to do. So if Ralston comes out and just stands his ground, Montana's got to, he's either got to take a touch or he's got to do something else. So flip that over. I know we've conceded 2 goals in that game and very early in the game as well. But the twice that we conceded, we almost instantaneously scored right off the back of that. And I don't know about anybody here. I was telling the boys they'll probably think I'm getting off my trolley. But I really enjoyed the game on Saturday. I really enjoyed watching us on Saturday. I thought going forward, we look a real attacking threat. I know what Ryan's saying here in terms of the second half. The second half was poor. The way we're playing isn't sustainable, and how many goals we concede. What I will say is every game's different. I don't think you're going to maybe get 2 games potentially the same, and the team will maybe not score as early against you. I'm not saying we're not going to concede goals, but what I'm saying is that the freakiness of how early the Livingston scored, Ryan, that doesn't happen all the time to Celtic. And it was just one of those games. It was kind of at the very beginning of that game. It was like a basketball game. It was end to end. I don't know about you, mate. I know you were at the game, Ryan, but to me it was quite entertaining. It just seemed the first 10 to 15 minutes felt like the game was about 100 miles an hour. And as I said, I don't have a problem with the game starting fast or for me, I don't have any issues with that at all. I think there was a guy in the comments. I saw Ryan and Daniel were on yesterday, and there was a guy in the comments. I think his name's John. And he actually says that, he doesn't understand that all along he's seen me advocating for Wilfred Nancy. The guy came in, he's my manager. So, I'm certainly not going to hate on him. I'm certainly not going to give him abuse or why would I? I've said it on this channel many a times. I would actually have disrespected the man right for the off if he came in and tried to go with somebody else's tactics. I actually quite like the fact that he's changed everything. I actually quite like the fact that he's opened a kind of new world to some of the players, and he's trying to let them find their way in it. Now I know what people are going to say. I know people are going to say, well, we can't really do this, we can't really do that, JP, we're all challenging for titles, we're doing this, we're doing that. But when was he supposed to do it? Because he was brought to the football club to make the change. Unfortunately, due to Celtic's schedule, he doesn't have the time to wait. And I keep saying it, practice makes perfect. The more players change to a setup and the way he wants to do things, I think the more he wants to do it, the more... Now, players are starting to settle in it. You can actually see it in amongst the chaos, in amongst the, the conceding goals and things. Players are starting to find their feet with this. And it's guys like Austin Trusty, Kieran Tierney. He's actually got the best out of Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney wasn't even fit enough to complete games. Now he's playing 90 minutes in games. I don't know how many games Kieran's actually played. I would need to go back and actually count all the games he's played. But I think he's played nearly in every game for Celtic this season. Give or take. Maybe one or two. He's played some part of the game for Celtic. So I actually think this system suits Yang. Now, I know Yang's not everybody's cup of tea, and he hasn't been since he's came to the club. He's got much to prove and much to do. He came to the club as a winger, but this guy's obviously, Nancy's playing him as a wing back, and it's getting more out of him because of Yang's energy. Something I've mentioned on the channel numerous times about Yang having energy and being able to get up and down the park. Obviously, Nancy sees that, and you look at Maeda, he's going into his more favoured position on the left-hand side. You're getting maybe more out of him in terms of his running, his press. But you start looking out and around that, you've got Engels. He's a lot more settled now. McGregor's a lot more settled in that role. I actually think Luke McKeown's doing really well in this new role that he's playing for the team. Benjamin Nigrin's starting to, in my opinion, flourish for this side. I actually said in one of the comments a few podcasts ago that I would like to see Benjamin Nigrin playing through the middle as the number 9 instead of Johnny Kenny, who ultimately I just don't think is good enough to lead Celtic's line. I can hear the argument, this is the worst Celtic side there's been in many years. Right, okay. But, unfortunately, just now there's not much anybody can say or do to change that. But we need to go with what we've got, and we need to try and do the best and make the best we can. Now, unfortunately, we're left in a position where we have to play guys like Tony Ralston and Johnny Kenny as part of our squad because we don't have other numbers. We've got Alistair Johnson out injured. Aniacho's been in and out with injury this season. Seems to have same issues with his kind of hamstrings, etc. But I think, Marcelo Sinachi's not played in this setup. That was another thing I said in the comments as well. And the fella John that was commenting on at the time, he doesn't agree that, automatically Anthony, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Jota, Saraki, Aniacho, he doesn't see them making a difference in this setup because we don't know if they will. Well, automatically they're better players, first and foremost. So Alistair Johnson plays right centre-back for Canada and a kind of back three. They play like a 3-4-3 system, Canada, and have done now for some time. Alistair Johnson's at right-hand side of that. So that I already know. In my opinion, if you put Cameron Carter-Vickers in, and you're playing maybe Austin Trusty, I can't even see Liam Scales because Liam Scales hasn't started now the last number of games. So obviously, Wilfred Nancy doesn't see Liam Scales as that kind of first choice to play in a central role. I've got a feeling it's down to pace. I think he obviously knows that Austin Trusty's got a fair ton of speed, and if a ball goes over the top, a big man can recover quickly and quicker than Liam Scales. Celtic face a side tomorrow night that I've only lost one game in the last 9 games. They've had 4 draws and the rest have been wins. So that's half decent form for a team like Motherwell. I know they had an instant in the game at the weekend where they had a shout for a penalty. They obviously didn't get that, and it was kind of waved away. But they've brought in a manager. Aye. The last couple of games, Ryan, I've actually been thinking about you, me man. Thinking to myself, right? He's obviously no. My feeling, Ryan, personally, is I think it's down to his pace. I think Liam Scales doesn't have the. He's a good defender in his own box, and he's good at that aspect of it. But I think to play that system, mate, you need legs, you need a certain level, and Big Trusty seems to have more pace than him in abundance. And I personally think that's why he's not playing him. Tierney's no a shrinking violet. Tony Ralston doesn't have great pace, so that side is unfortunately killing us just now. Francis Lester in the comments, I think you've picked up on it earlier, mate. You were saying that you would like to see Donovan play in there, and I agree. I would like to see Donovan brought in there because of the way he's obviously got a bit of height. Donovan, he's probably a lot quicker than Tony Ralston as well, personally. And he can get up and down the pitch a lot better than Tony Ralston can, because I think Tony struggles with certain aspects of that. I've actually selected a team, and at the end, I'm going to bring it up, folks, as the team I would like to see start the game tomorrow. So I will certainly bring it up at the end tonight, because I just feel that the team that I've selected will bring balance. It will also bring, stability to our backline and a bit of height and physicality also. So yeah, I do think this team would kind of work well, and you would see balance for both sides as well, for the left-hand side of the field and the right, and give us a bit of pace and dynamism in the team as well. And you can let me know what you think when I do it, when I bring it up, because I really feel that it's a team that can really about Motherwell side too. And yeah, they also have a coach who isn't afraid to change things and make changes accordingly. So they kind of play like 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-2-1. That's what I know the last couple of times they went to Tynecastle and they played 4-4-2. They had to go right against Hearts and get right in Hearts' faces. And I think they got a draw for Hearts doing that. Yeah, they did. They drew nothing each, actually, with Hearts doing that. So, and I think they went to Falkirk and they did the same thing as well against Falkirk. They went with 4-4. So yeah, I personally think the Motherwell manager, he looks at other teams and he thinks on his feet basically, and how he's going to go and change that. Now I know Maspanisi and stuff like that. I know they've lost some players. I know Maspanisi's at the AFCON, the African Nations. So that's a bit unfortunate for them, because he's a very good player with pace, and yeah. Orange says Livingston scored 17 in 17 games, then played us, scored 2 in 8 minutes. No, listen, Lon, I can hear your concerns, pal. I really, really do. I share what you're saying. And again, when you look at things in context, and you look at the way that happened, the goals could be avoided. Teams will score against you. It's inevitable that can happen in games. It's up to your defence to, but unfortunately, just now we've got a guy in our defence. It's just ultimately he's not good enough to play in our defence. So yeah, but Big Rab, what you saying, mate? I think we should recall Welsh on the 1st of January. How good he's doing this season. I think Stephen Welsh is at his level, Rab. I think Stephen Welsh he's had more than enough chances. He's another Mikey Johnston. He's had more than enough chances at Celtic, mate, and he's not been able to do it. He's not been able to do it, mate. It's just he's one of those guys who he's just not cut out to play for Celtic, pal. And I think he's where he will flourish, and where he might do well. So Welsh wants away. He's happy in Poland. Is he on holiday or something, Kev? Is he on holiday? Because he plays for Motherwell. I'm not sure. I think Kev meant to say he's wanted in Poland. That's what it is. There we go. I'm glad you cleared that up for us, mate. I really am, because you kind of had my head thrown there. Totally gone. Aye, just when you said Welsh here, I was like, oh, wow. But he's been abroad. I mean, he's played over in Belgium. So he's had experience away from Scotland as well. But he's had enough chances. And JP, what do you think about Rossi coming in? Are we talking about Diego Rossi? Is that the fella you're on about, mate? Listen, I'm all for this guy getting his own team. None of these players are his, by the way. So, in my opinion, I mean, I know we lost our first 4, right? But the last couple of games has been really exciting, in my opinion. Again, people might think I'm crazy saying that, but I've enjoyed the last couple of games, especially in attacking sense. But we need quality. We need quality. And obviously this guy possesses that in abundance. He's also good friends with Marcelo Siracchi. So they play in the Uruguayan team together. So yeah. I'm all for this man getting his own players and being given that opportunity to properly put his own stamp on a team, because to get wins with this team who's not his team, for me, if he continues to do that now, obviously we've got 2 really massive games in this week coming, and if we were to win both of them, then I would imagine quite a lot of heads will start to turn and think to themselves, right, well, hold on a wee minute. What's it going to be like when this guy gets his own roster of players being brought in to the football club? Nick Conley, don't know how you feel about the back three, JP, but for me, it's not playing at 3 that worries me. It's only playing one centre half. I'd like to see AJ when fit alongside 2 centre backs, mate. I think, see, when you look over in the MLS, mate, and I know what you're saying, I think AJ will come into that somewhere. But I think AJ will be the right wing back. I don't think he'll come in as a right centre back. I would be surprised. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Because, again, you're left with, young Dane Murray, who he got absolutely massacred because his performance level at Hearts beat his 3-1. He's ultimately involved in all the 3 goals in an adverse way. So they all went against Dane Murray and the Celtic team. So, what really are you left with? What really can you do? I have selected a side that I would like to see tomorrow. As I said earlier, Nick, that I'm also going to display because I really feel that this team deserves the opportunity to go and, try and put a stamp on the game tomorrow night. I mean, don't ask me how I've come up with this. It was just something I sat and went through and really thought about it. And yeah, it's something that I want to see happen. It's something I want to see brought in, because right now we don't have lots of options. Zach says, Rossi's 54 grand a week. Do you think Celtic will pay that? I'm not sure the amount he's on, pal. So if that is definite, that's for sure, then that's quite a lot of money. But you've then got to look at the value of the player as well. I think his contract's up soon as well, isn't it? So in a small, short space of time, I don't think he's going to have a lot of negotiation room. I think a big draw for this lad is he's worked under Wilfred. And Celtic on the, it's no St Johnson. No disrespect. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but it's no. Celtic are well known around the world. They're a massive club. But I'd imagine Kieran Tierney's known chocolate buttons for his wages. I'm not saying he's on that, but can't be a kick in the arse too much higher. That's for sure. But I don't think the wages will be the stumbling block there. If that move's going to happen, there'll be other, there'll be other. Oh Jesus, there's another one. Boy Nathan says that Rossi's on 200k a week, so we've no chance. Again, I mean, unless somebody's got his pie slip in front of him, nobody knows what he's on a week. So, do you honestly think those 2 games will bring wins, JP? Yeah, I do. I think Celtic are more than capable of winning the next 2 games. Yeah, I do. I do think they've got the capability, the mental strength, the character. Yeah, I do think so. Yeah. Winning breeds confidence. I keep saying this. If we go tomorrow and we go to Fir Park and win the next game, the next one's at home. So, and you're talking probably a full house. So anything's capable at Celtic Park with the full crowd behind you. That's it, Ryan. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that either, mate. The manager's still on a game-to-game basis. He needs his own players. He needs to get his own guys in. And he needs to put in his own, his own man-to-man statement on the team. I think what will help him massively is when we don't have any midweek football. And you'll start to see the team only playing one game a week and kind of motoring that way, because I think that will help, and it's obviously helped Hearts. Hearts have they've not had any European football this season, so they've been able to just concentrate on a week-to-week basis on their domestic football. So, well, this is it. And if I knew the definitive answers and I could predict it, then I would be putting a lottery on most weeks as well, and whatever else. But unfortunately, I'm just a guy sitting giving my opinion. You asked me if I thought the team were capable, and I said yes, I do. I think they are capable of doing it. So the chances that Celtic are creating now, and some of them are being converted now. So that's it. What I do believe is I don't think we've got any room for any more errors. I don't think we can afford to, as Ryan says, don't win tomorrow and you're back to, oh no, it's a crisis, and everybody's up in arms and unhappy about it, and oh yeah. But I think we'll just need to wait and see. I personally think the business that Celtic will do in January is I think they will buy a centre forward. I'd be really stunned, Nick. I'd be really shocked, mate, if that happened. No, honestly, mate. There's been no snippets, nothing, pal. I'd be really shocked if that happened, pal. So early on in the window. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but I would be stunned if it does. So it's yeah. I get everybody saying it's a game to game basis for Wilfred Nancy, and the way that he plays his teams, and I can see bits and bobs of development within that. I know it's quite a lot of chaos just now because there's been so much change with the squad, and then there's been so much change to the way we play. So we don't play with a back four anymore. He doesn't play with traditional wingers. It's we need to wait and see how this is going to develop. If the players are doing this in training and they're working and working and working over a period of time, we'll start to see the benefits of this, and we'll start to see it change. A lot of the Italian teams are playing this formation. Bayer Leverkusen under Xavi Alonso did it. Gasparini's Roma team came to Celtic Park and played the same way. That's actually the way Roma played against us, especially in the first half. That's actually the way Wilfred Nancy wants this Celtic side to play once it gets going. Just smothering teams and being right in people's faces. And right now, we're not in a position, or we're not good enough to be able to do that. And that's where I think with coaching time and obviously getting his own kind of manpower in to do it, it's yeah. But that's what I says. And when you've said there, it's not a great time to implement a new style. When is? When was going to be a good time? It would be. You don't want him coming in and implementing somebody else's style. It's not what he coaches. It's not his philosophy. It's not the way he works as a manager. Why was he brought here? Why has he been brought to the club? He's been brought to make change. We've played a certain way for so long. Everybody has seen problem with us now changing. And people are afraid of change. There's an element of fear, and I get it. I can understand it. There is a fear, and people might they might just go up. JP, there's no fear. No, there is a fear. There is a fear. There's a fear that Celtic aren't going to win the title. That's the fear. There's a fear here that Celtic aren't going to win the title. And that doesn't fear me. I'm not frightened of that. I've watched Celtic not win titles before. A long time ago. But I've been really privileged over the last decade or so now as a Celtic fan, watching us winning everything. And people are finding it problematic now that we're now, we're in a position now where we're having to actually roll our sleeves up and slug this out, and we've not been top of the league for a long time. I don't have an issue. People go, we should be. I hear this term quite a lot. We should be. Well, no, you don't. You don't. Just because you've got the best of everything doesn't mean you should be in that position. You need to fight. You need to battle. You need to do all the right things to be in the positions. And from the summer to now, we haven't done the right things to be anywhere near the best. So far, Hearts have been the best, and because they've been the most, they've been the best and domestically, and they've had the best form. So, but the trouble is this guy's come in with a new idea, a new way of doing things. He's no Scottish, he's no Irish, he's no British, he doesn't have a background with the club. And, and obviously he's trying to do things a different way, and he's trying to implement this to the players. He's trying to educate them and coach them a different way for what they've been used to. And it's only normal when there was going to be bumps in the road. Anybody that thought there wasn't, then, you're watching the wrong sport. No, it's just unfortunate that he's came to a club with the demands that this club has, But I'm fine with no winning all the time, and I'm fine with, because I know it'll come back. That's what happens. But there's a massive fear factor out there that Celtic don't win, and they don't win this, and they don't win that, and we lost the cup final, and it's tragic. And I totally get it. I get it all, because we're the biggest club, and we're the most successful club in the country. But I'm fine with having to roll our sleeves up. I'm fine. By the way, I've said this all along. If it gets to the end of the season and we've lifted the league title, the better people go, well, you've not deserved to do that, or we've no. If we manage to do it, this will probably be one of my favourite seasons in a long time for a variety of different reasons, especially if we win the league. Because in the media, various journalists, this, that, and the next thing, it's, people are saying that, Hearts are doing this and Hearts are doing that, and this Jamestown analytics and this and that. And by the way, Hearts have done remarkably well. But, they got a wee touch of reality and what is of, don't get too carried away with yourselves. Hibs brought them back down to earth, a big bang. And I'm fine with having to battle. I'm fine with that. Unfortunately for Celtic right now, we've not been able to battle properly because our recruitment wasn't done properly in the summer. And it left us massively depleted in terms of the squad, in terms of the strength of the squad, to go at everything. And we've got an opportunity now in the next week, starting for next week, in this window, to get one or two players in, even if it's loan signings. I know that's the position we're in just now. But to get us that opportunity, until such times we've got guys like Alistair Johnson, Jota. Now, I know Cameron Carter-Vickers isn't going to play this season again, so I'm not even going to mention him here. But until such times we have those guys back in the squad, the guys that are there who have been doing it for so long, guys like McGregor and Maeda and Hatate, and, we need to get these guys help, because we can't keep relying on the same guys all the time. And that's the position we're in. And that's no, that's an issue right now. That's an issue right now. But again, like I says, if Celtic managed to win the league, then this will probably be one of my favourite seasons in a long time. If we can still manage to, I don't care if we don't win another thing this season. For all I care, we could get knocked out of the Europa League and we could no win the Scottish Cup. I would take that to winning this title because it would still be unbelievable considering what's happened this season for us. Because we've not set ourselves up in the proper way to give us that best opportunity for us to see the best Celtic. So, yeah. But, you know, I've said it millions of times on this channel. You can't blitz teams every week. You're not going to do that. You're not going to blutter teams out of water every week either. Sometimes you just need to roll your sleeves up and get right in about it. And I think that's now what we're going to have to do between now and the summer. Hearts aren't going to go away easily. But we have another 2 opportunities to play them and really put pressure on them that way. That's the thing, Lauren. We don't seem to have any updates on any of our boys. I thought there would have been some sort of media today, but we've not seen any interviews or anything. So, unfortunately, we don't have any updates on them. Yeah. And I've noticed that since Wilfred's actually come into the team. We don't really see a lot of information. I think personally his interviews are a lot quicker than like say Martin O'Neill and Brendan Rodgers. Especially his first few, they were really, really short. Ryan says, we can all accept a title fight and teams challenging us, but what we can't accept is the fans, the players, and the club having the best chance. Except as the fans, the players, and the club having the best chance to help the club. We should not be in this situation. No, we shouldn't, Ryan. But here we are. We find ourselves in this situation, mate. And this is what I'm saying, mate. Look, I mean, people could go through life saying, I shouldn't have been in this. But, you end up in a situation for reasons. Some of the reasons are controllable. Some of the reasons are not controllable. Unfortunately for Celtic, we never prepared ourselves properly in the summer by, bringing in the appropriate clientele and manpower to help us going into the season. There was players brought to the football club who I think are good footballers. There just wasn't enough. We've got guys who have been brought to the football club like Yamada and Anamura, guys like, Balikwisha, Tanecki's not really done much. So these guys, unfortunately, have been brought in, but they've not been able to hit the ground running, and they're taking more time now to settle. Unfortunately, I don't think guys like Anamura, all the best, Ryan. Take care, pal. Guys like Anamura and Yamada, unfortunately, are just they're not going to do anything. They're probably going to Anamura's probably going to move out the door this window. Loan deal with the option to buy. I think a deal's almost been struck with FC Tokyo for him. So yeah, I think that deal will be kind of done and dusted before we kind of know it. Well, I don't know. I think probably the best word there, Jean-Paul, is to be wary. Because right now, mate, unfortunately, we're in a position, mate, where we don't know what Celtic team's going to turn up. We hope that Celtic are going to continue winning games and doing well that way. But, I don't think it's a case of fearing anybody. Me as a Celtic fan, I certainly don't fear going into games. And I don't fear Celtic not winning things, and it doesn't even come into my mind at all. I understand that there'll be times where Celtic won't win things, and I understand there'll be times where we don't win things, like the cup final. The last two cup finals, in fact, they're great examples there. So I can, I don't get hyped up about that. That doesn't annoy me. Thanks very much, Regina. I do try to kind of stay calm-headed. I've always said it, when Celtic win games and we win trophies, and we've been winning trebles and doubles, and I don't get too carried away. And I don't get too far ahead of myself. And it's like when we get beat, when we lose a cup final, or the last two we've lost back to back, Aberdeen and St Mirren beat us. It helps me not to get too down about that. And yeah, people can call me crazy, call me whatever you like. I don't really care. That's the way I am. It might there might be aspects of that game that maybe annoy me more than the actual defeat itself. But I understand Celtic don't have any divine right to win everything, and they don't have any. There's going to be times where, if you can't accept as a fan that there's going to be times where you're going to have to roll your sleeves up, there's going to be times where it's going to be tough, and you might not do the best of everything. You might try and do the best of everything, but it might not happen for you. You might not be able to do the best of everything. Like this season, right? So we never done my recruitment properly in the summer. But that's a way now, that's gone, right? That's a way back here. But I'm giving that as an example here on this point. But we haven't been top of the league for a wee while. Our results have been, really sloppy, and we've conceded a lot of goals. We've now won my third manager of the season due to circumstances. It's not been a great. Everything's not been in harmony since the beginning of the season. If you can't accept that, or can I try and understand that sometimes that might be the case, try thinking what it would be like to be a Dumbarton fan, or a Clydebank fan, or local clubs that don't really win any trophies, don't win anything. How do you think those fans feel going to football matches, knowing never going to get to see our club win a trophy? And we're coming from a background that, the last 10 years or so, aye, Pat, to be fair, I don't know what to say that, but I'm glad somebody did in the chat. It could be, but try thinking, put yourself in those shoes and think to yourself, really, are we in a real position where we can get too hung up about it? I know it upsets people, and I know it's people's lives, and people follow football like myself, but I just don't let it get to me that way. Maybe that's just me as a person, I don't know. I just don't let it get me that way. It doesn't get me. It doesn't ruin my day or my life, or it doesn't stop me doing things with my family. It doesn't stop me moving on. It doesn't. So there you go, new Nashers. I was only giving out examples, If you can't understand there's going to be tough times in amongst the other good times, then see when it does happen, see when you go through a tough time and hit a bump in the road where things are no... Because even the top clubs like Man City, Real Madrid, they all go through spells like this. Look at how successful Man City have been under Pep Guardiola, But they go through bumps now. Look at Man United. See, when I was growing, I'm nearly I'll be 42 in February now. Look at Man United. Growing up as a boy, all I known was Man United dominating English leagues under Sir Alex Ferguson for as long as they did. And they were always the dominant force. They were always... Look at them now. They've totally... Things have totally changed. And that's because of things not all in harmony. Things aren't happening the way they should be. He was obviously the one that knitted it all together. I am indeed, Anjem. That happens to us all, pal. Happens to us all, but thanks for taking notice. But yeah, I mean that's it. When I say there, I'm not saying people shouldn't get annoyed. I'm just saying I don't get annoyed. But what I will say is, if you can't understand that you're not always going to win things and you're not always going to be successful and be the best just every single week and win every single game, if you can't understand that, see when it happens, your come down will be massive, absolutely massive. And for me, this season, there's been lots of noise came out of Celtic since the summer. It kind of reminds me of the way things went in the COVID season. But ultimately now, I'm seeing signs that we can have a change in the COVID season within the Winning League. But we were chasing a Rangers side then. We're not even chasing Rangers. They're behind us. So we've been chasing Hearts. Do I think Hearts are good enough to win the league? I don't know. And what tells me that is, well, the experience. You know, they don't have a lot of winners in their team. It's a relatively new squad that's been put together. They've got an experienced manager who's won things in his time as a lad with Rangers. He was successful at Aberdeen. But I don't think they've got enough experience of winning. You look through the Celtic side, you're looking at guys like Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers. Now, I know these guys aren't playing just now, but they're still there. They still have interaction with the other players. You know, Carl McGregor, James Forrest, Casper Schmeichel. These are real experienced pros who know how to get over, you know, the winning line for the title. And that, for me, is vital over anything at all. Time will tell, obviously, whether Celtic have got the you know, what it in them to turn this around this season. DM McDonald, good evening, pal. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in. I did have a good Christmas, mate. It was quite quiet. But the kids, I mean, kids loved it, so that's the main thing. But yeah, I really think that, yes, we've not been in harmony this season, but we do have an opportunity to fix it. With the COVID season, it didn't look like there was any light at the end of the tunnel till we got Ange Postecoglou over the door. And then things started to change. Now, unfortunately, due to a relationship breakdown and what you can actually see there, we've lost a manager in Brendan Rodgers. Things went and obviously suffered really badly behind the scenes. You can tell that with that statement that was released with Dermot Desmond. All things were not in harmony. Who knows what would have happened if he was, you know, if Brendan wasn't buying into the, you know, that maybe the club wanted to stay on, him to stay on, and he wasn't too sure of what he was wanting to do. He's obviously now over in Saudi Arabia. So was that in his head? But I mean, things like that we'll never know. My point is we've seen all sorts of different things from in and around Celtic this season, and it's not in harmony. Not everything's in harmony. But there's an opportunity for the players, with the addition of a couple in the January window, hopefully, and obviously injured players coming back to the team to complement the squad. I'm going to bring in a lad as well, and Callum Osmond. I think he could be vital for the running as well if he's back in time. He could inject an energy and a pace and everything at the top end of the field that we've not got just now. But just that camaraderie again. Because when good players come into the team, guys like Jota, Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Iniacho, Sirachi, these guys are good players. When good players come in, and you've got guys like Callum McGregor, Arnie Engels, other good players, and you put good players around good players, it gives everybody a lift. It just gives the squad and everybody in total a lift. And I'm hoping that can happen. And yeah, I'm hoping we can now gear towards the second half of the season, and hopefully we can make the league season still a successful season for us by winning the league title. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not interested in if Celtic still manage to win a double or we still do this, because it's going to be remembered for a lot of different reasons this season. In terms of, sadly, if Celtic even win the league this season, it's still going to be look like everything that's happened on and off the field. But me personally, looking at the football aspect of it, it'll be one of my best seasons watching Celtic for a long time because of, we're going to have to battle. And I don't mind that. I don't mind having to roll our sleeves up and have a go and really another team willing to take us there. Yeah, call it years of battling with the other side of Glasgow and on and off the pitch. But that, that's not the worry now. The worry is Hearts in Edinburgh. They've got themselves a good, hard squad together. Again, not too far ahead of ourselves, or they can't be now, because they just lost a derby themselves. We've got a derby to look forward to at the weekend. So, again, we need to keep our eye on the ball. But Hearts, they get beat at the weekend. We won at the weekend. And, yeah. It was all good in the hood. It was a good weekend. But if Andy's going to the game tomorrow, I hope you enjoy. I do hope we get another victory. If we won 5-4 or 6-5, probably not good for the old heartstrings for some folks. But yeah, that's all I've got time for tonight. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in across the platforms. As I said, I hope everybody's enjoyed your festive season, and yeah, if you are looking forward to the new year, if you've got any plans, hope you enjoy that when it comes. We'll probably no doubt be back on as a channel before we take on the team across the city. And yeah, everybody stay safe, take care. And if you are new to the channel and you've just came across the channel, please hit the like and the subscribe. It's totally free. We don't charge for that to happen. So, but for the time being, folks, enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. That's all for me. Take care. Bye-bye.
Up Larsson here. Larsson. Oh, he's in! Henrik Larsson! That is sensational! O'Reilly. How about that for a pass? Jota! How about that for a finish? That is Jota for you! In for Henrik Larsson. And Moravcik! His first goal for Celtic! Here is Shunsuke Nakamura! Exquisite!